Hey everyone, and welcome to 121 Overload. I am Peter, and that over there is Matt.
Hey, what's up?
This is a show in which we talk about movies. We do this one once a month, and what makes this one a little bit different from the others? I mean, the conversation is pretty similar, but we each pick a movie that we love. We put it up for a
Mhm.
vote on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and our patrons at the $5 tier and up vote on which one we're going to do. And I had a bit of a streak going. My movie had won a couple of times in a row. Unfortunately, this month they decided to go with Matt's pick, which is La La
Karma's a
Land.
boomerang, bro. Karma's a boomerang.
And this is particularly cruel, this one, because he knew I would hate this. He picked this one.
Party. Wait a minute. So you're telling me you picked Under the Skin and Neon Demon because you knew that those are movies I might enjoy, or did you pick them knowing?
Don't see, Neon Demon was only picked because you picked La La Land, so I fought fire with fire.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope we learned a lesson.
Under the
Yeah.
Skin, on the other hand, I was like, no, I'm going to convince them that this is the way. This is life. This is
No.
open your
Life did not
mind.
find a way, Pete. Life did not find a way.
So, yeah, so we're going to talk about La La Land. We'll start spoiler free. We will give you a warning before spoilers. Obviously, I mean, it came out last year, and I feel like it's a mainstream movie that most people have probably seen by now, but just in
I mean,
case.
it almost won the Oscar. I feel,
Al- Almost to the point where they actually announced it won the Oscar until they get corrected,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
We're going to get into this. So I need to preface this. Before we even talk about the movie. I do not like musicals. I have never liked musicals. They bug me, they irritate me, I do not understand them. I find them tedious to watch. Whenever a song starts, I'm just counting the minutes until the song is
Which
over.
This strikes me as strange because you love music. I know you as I've been on a podcast with you for the last going on 4 years now. I think it's actually been 4 years. And you know your music, maybe not as well as Connor because he's a music major, but like you play some guitar, right? Like,
In high school I did, yeah. I think on it,
yeah,
I'm a bit more picky with music though, and what I like and what I don't like. And
okay.
honestly, I feel like when it comes to musicals, the reason why I typically don't like them very much is because I just don't like the type of music that's typically in a musical. It's very
hmm
whimsical. Usually, it's very kind of, in this case, it's quite jazzy or it's quite whatever. Like,
But yeah,
it's
this
not.
is this is straight up. Some scenes are straight up jazz, and which should be expected from the guy that directed Whiplash. Like that's his wheelhouse. I'm kind of in the same boat where I don't enjoy very many musicals. They have to have something about them that's more like, I'll tend to like Newsies, right? Because Newsies is a historical one. But outside of that, like Sweeney Todd is my nightmare. Like there's not a time I can imagine myself ever
Which
enjoying that.
which is why you can't pick that for this vote, because you have
Exactly.
to love the movie you pick. That's the
Yes.
rule.
Although I'm gonna let some people know when Pete was gonna do this thing where he's, I don't know what your point was, if it was to broaden your horizons or just to give yourself something to do before you had all these shows, where we could, give him movies to watch and then he would review them. And I missed the first go around, which I think what ended up winning was our friend Rob's pick. Was that Chris Evans movie?
Oh yeah, I
Um,
forgot the name of it now, but I really like that
yeah,
movie.
but you ended up really liking it. Well, me and Connor decided to take the opposite route on the second go round, and I handed Pete Sweeney Todd. And the caveat there was it had to be something we'd already seen, which, I had seen it. Granted, it was in the background as my wife was watching it, and I wanted to claw my eyes out. But it was Tim Burton and a musical, two things that Pete just loves. So,
I hate you so much. Hates
yeah.
it all so much. In fact, I hate our patrons. I hate our patrons right now. Like, they made me watch this. I'm
Ah,
not happy. I'm just not happy.
yeah. He's not happy.
So, right. So, I don't like musicals. Right. That much is clear.
hmm
It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to hate the plot of the movie per se.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as far as musicals I actually like, I guess Blues Brothers counts. I like Blues Brothers.
See, it's weird. When I think musical, I think of something like Singing in the Rain, where specific plot elements are moved through the movie through song.
Hmm.
And I feel like Blues Brothers they're more musical vignettes that a movie happens around. You know, but I guess it counts. I haven't watched it in forever, so I can't really should speak on
Yeah,
it.
whatever. But that's the one
Yeah,
example I can kind of think of. I enjoyed the Buffy episode. The hit television show Buffy the
yeah,
Vampire Slayer had a musical
45
episode.
minutes.
I
What
like
about the Supergirl Flash crossover? That was pretty good.
that was more hit and miss. I wasn't as into the, but see, this is the thing though. It works better with me when a TV show when I've already been watching it for years because I already
Yeah,
like the characters enough that it feels like they're just goofing around and having some,
yeah.
having a fun time for an episode.
What?
Whereas I watched this and it starts with this ridiculous dance number on the highway with people getting out of their cars and spinning around, and I'm just like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Oh man. Uh, so for me, that opens the movie to let you know we're in a heightened sense of reality. It's not our reality. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, we'll talk about it through the spoilers because I don't want to start giving away
Yeah.
bits and pieces of the movie. But yeah, it's a big show-stopping number to open the thing with. I mean, they actually shut down a freeway to do this. Like that's unheard of. They could have done it on a soundstage and made it look like a freeway, but no, So I always give it points for difficulty there. Yeah.
Well, I should probably give my overall impression of the damn thing
Yeah.
before we move any further. So, I mean, like, it wasn't a terrible movie. Like, I'm not going to like sit and say there was no skill involved.
Okay.
Cinematography was often quite nice. Like, it would be sweeping
Yeah.
around and doing various things. Uh, but I think first of all, yes, a lot of the musical numbers did bore the crap out of me. There was many which I just zoned out. Like I just wasn't really paying attention once they got going. Like there's a whole bit before the first kiss where they're floating around, and I just kind of like I didn't even know what was happening during most of that scene. And then I came back and they were kissing. And I
I
was like,
kid you not. I watched this on Thanksgiving Eve with my family because I had a refresh, and I leaned over to my wife and went, Pete's gonna get to this part and he's gonna shut it off. I know, and he's gonna be like, I'm gonna come back to this. So the fact that you zoned out makes me kind of right.
I did have to take a break later. I was actually
Yeah.
15 minutes late to recording because I had to take a 15-minute break in the middle because it was just too much, and I had to go and not be in a musical for like 15 minutes. But here's maybe more of an actual like obviously like a lot of those complaints come with these caveats of it's just purely down to taste.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll give you that I kind of is less caveat filled. It's still a bit caveat filled, but it's less caveat filled. So this movie is very much a love letter to a certain time in Hollywood. This is very much Damien Chazelle's kind of like I love musicals of this era, and it's going to be you open with the CinemaScope kind of thing, and it'll say the end at the end, and all these things. Like he's love letter to Hollywood. Now my two points here is one. It does feel self-indulgent. It feels like he's stroking Hollywood's big hard cock.
Big time. Like,
Right.
and he's good at it too. Like,
Oh yeah, Hollywood's enjoying the rub. He's enjoying it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And secondly, I like movies that celebrate film and are love letters to the movie business and are love letters to the history of cinema. Here's the thing though, I have other examples that I've seen do it better before. Movies that I love, that I like Cinema Paradiso. I watched that when I went to see a movie about celebrating the love of film. I watched Hugo. Hugo surprised the shit out of me when that came out. I wasn't expecting anything from that movie, and it kind of blew me away. I was really into that. It ended up being one of my favourite Scorsese movies.
Wow.
So there's movies out there for me that already exist where it's about the history and the love of film and that. Whereas this felt a bit more two-dimensional to me because it was all about the struggle of making it in Hollywood and
Yeah.
getting to your breaking point, but then maybe you get that one break and I don't know. It felt a bit. The plot felt very by the numbers to me. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so that's my big takeaway. When I saw this last year, this was our Christmas movie, because I'd already seen Rogue One by that point. So me and my wife, we always try to go to the movies around Christmas. And we went to an early showing of this. We were like the only ones in the theater, which was pretty cool. And that was my one takeaway after it ended. I was like, well, that was fun, but the story was kind of flimsy. Like, you could tell that when Chazelle was crafting this, it was more about how can we make this look like a classic Hollywood film than how do I tell an intriguing story. Because, I mean, I like the story. I like the characters, but it's nothing, like had it won the Oscar for screenplay, it would have been egregious because it's really not beyond basic. But to me, it's that struggle. Someone more artistically inclined, maybe not as much as you, it's that struggle. That's why I connected to Whiplash, which it shares a lot of themes with. So of that. What are you willing to give up to achieve your dream? And that's something I can get behind. I just wish Chazelle had executed a little bit better on this one, like he did with Whiplash.
Yeah, Whiplash never felt whimsical, whereas this is full
No.
of whimsy. And I'm not,
Well,
if there's one,
yeah, Whiplash is straight up dark, whereas this one is like it's not tonal opposite, but you know what I mean, like the yin and the yang of it. You know what I mean?
I just if there's one thing in movies that I'm not a big fan of, it's whimsy. It's why I'm not a big Disney guy. I'm not a big fan of the classic
True.
Disney stuff because of
That's
whimsy. It's just not my mood. Like there's a lot of types of movies that I will love, but whimsical is just not
Yeah.
one of them for whatever reason. I've just never connected with it. Even as a kid, I never I like I like Daffy Duck over Donald Duck every time because he was the one with attitude. You know?
Yeah, but Donald has maybe it's different. Donald has a rage problem. I have a rage problem, so I see myself a lot in Donald. So I don't know. But
Bugs
the whimsy,
Bunny's an asshole, and I love that asshole. It's great.
Well, maybe you should have said you're more Bugs Bunny than Mickey Mouse. That would have been a little
Okay, sure.
more. Yeah.
It was just, I thought it'd be easier to compare the ducks because they're both ducks, but
Yeah, but I mean, we all know Donald's clearly better.
the point I'm making though is that I didn't grow up in Disney because it was more whimsical, and I liked the Warner Brothers stuff because it was a bit more,
See, I didn't know this about you. This is the first time. Again, 4 years of podcasts.
bit more
I
loony.
never-
Like I have no attachment to any of these things. I remember I never seen the Disney Christmas Carol, with Mickey Mouse and that.
Oh man, Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah, and it was
man.
so I was at a friend's house and they put it on during Christmas time, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, I've never seen this, and they were asking me all these questions. I'm like, I just don't really care. That's fine.
Why is Goof Jacob Marley? This is weird.
So I mean, obviously my point there was just that I'm not a big whimsy guy. So that sort of brings me into kind of the tone of this movie, where as much as it's because I appreciated the camera, I liked how the camera was moving for the most part. There was one or two little nitpicks I had with like. I think they were so determined to do the opening scene as this big real thing on a real highway that they had to kind of like accept it with flaws and all, because the entire first, and this was really like bugging me, the entire start of it before the camera turned round, because they'd done it all in one shot, they're all facing away from the sun at the start, so everyone's kind of underexposed against the sunlight.
Okay.
It was really weird. It was like, I'm so not used to seeing that in a big... But that's the weird thing, though, is that they're doing all these elaborate dance things, the camera's going over cars, like, everything about it feels super big budget and professional, except the fact that they're all kind of dull looking.
The lighting, yeah.
Or like, I don't know how big the reflector would have needed to be to to achieve the entire road.
The whole highway.
Yeah.
Like they just have a tent.
but just this big, like, structure holding this giant white tarp
Yeah.
that just reflects the light back on that side.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a nitpick, but it's just like, because obviously from a technical point of view, I cannot fault a lot of what happens in this movie. From a technical point of view, I appreciate it as someone who understands a bit of filmmaking. As someone who cares about story and characters, though, I was kind of left high. Like, obviously, I kind of like the characters because I like the actors to an extent.
Yeah.
Emma Stone, I like Emma Stone. The actors, or the characters, are a bit less. So like, they're kind of like so determined to a fault
Archetypes.
on their goals.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to feel bad for them when things go truly wrong.
So the more I watch this, I've seen this a couple times now. The more I look at Sebastian, who's Ryan Gosling's character, the more I look at him as he's kind of like almost borderline autistic when it comes to his obsession with jazz. Because there's that scene with his sister, and she's sitting on that bench or that stool that he dug out of the trash because some jazz crate had sat on it. And she's like, "No, this is garbage." She's like, "No. To you, it's garbage. To me, it's history." And you see him throughout the movie. That's how he acts. Like he has this obsession with everything, and it needs to be perfect. And it takes romanticism to the next level.
Yeah, I think it's also a little bit two-dimensional because I feel like neither of these characters ever have any interest outside of the one thing the entire movie's about. Like, all he ever likes or talks about is jazz, and that's everything. Like, there's no anything else. And I'm not saying you have to do much with anything else, but there's never a sense that he also, I don't know, does anything else with his life. Like, he's so focused. Like, it feels... Again, maybe that's part and parcel of the era, is that you want these characters like laser focused on the one thing that the movie's about, but it feels that little bit unrealistic where it doesn't feel like he's a real person, because he isn't, like, no one is that focused on one thing in their life. Not really. Very few people are, at the very least.
I feel like to draw comparisons to Whiplash, that was, Miles Teller's character was the same way.
Yeah.
and that's why he went to that school. And so the laser focus is there, but to me, it's what's the cost of that laser focus? And his sister comes and helps bail him out of bills and stuff because he can't keep a job because he's so focused on the jazz. And again, the more I watch it, the more I see like this is not a romantic view of him because he's very flawed in his love of things.
Well, yeah, because he insists on playing the music he likes when he's got a piano job at a restaurant, even though he's told to play X thing. And it's like, well, the manager doesn't care if you have a little romantic moment where you want to play your jazz thing. Like, no, he's right to like get rid of you. Like, this is your fault.
The standards.
Yeah, it's like,
how about 3 for you, 1 for me? Okay, all for you, none for me. Got it. Like, I love that scene. Like, with J.K. Simmons, because again, he plays a great curmudgeon, but here it's a little more understandable because he's trying to run this restaurant where people are coming at Christmas to hear Christmas tunes while they eat, not his take on Christmas tunes. As much as I enjoy that, but yeah.
So we've got spoilers then? We've got any spoilers
Yeah,
now?
let's open that spoiler door.
Talk about plot. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one who likes the movie, so you feel free to drive the discussion here of what you want to talk about.
So again, we already talked about how the plot's kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it's barely there, but it's a thinner plot, but it's a guy meets girl and, and kind of how they develop a relationship while pursuing their own careers. Sebastian, played by Ryan Gosling, is a jazz musician. He has this dream of one day owning this really cool jazz club that's like the jazz clubs he's heard of from history, and then you have Mia, right? It's Mia.
Mia, yeah.
Emma Stone's character, who is a struggling actress who works as a barista on the Warner Brothers lot, which, funnily enough, I've been there. So to see a taping of Conan. So that was kind of surreal, watching this on the big screen, like walking past these places I've actually been and whatnot. But and they end up meeting. They have a bunch of chance encounters where until finally they end up, meeting at this party, and they hit it off, and they, join together to pursue careers together. From there, it's kind of like, what are you willing to give up for your career?
Honestly, that meeting at the party is one of my favourite parts of the relationship because she'd ran into him at the piano bar and she heard him get fired because the music he played didn't match what the manager wanted, and she actually, because he was a bit of an asshole on the way out, she specifically requests a song that he knows he'll hate. She requests something that's really simple to play, to the point where he's playing it with one hand and he's just kind of like bored and just playing a couple of notes every so often. Like, to me, that was doing something with it. To me, that was like, she's using his own love against him to play a joke on him, essentially, and that worked for me well enough. Where things started falling down for me is when things started going wrong and you could see where it was going, where he's not going to make her opening night at this like one woman play she's doing, and he's like sort of losing himself to like, because he, for the money, because he's been struggling for so long, he accepts to be part of this band, and even though he doesn't really like the music all that much, he's making him money, he's going on tours, but again, it's this idea of sacrifice to like, like giving up on his dream and so on.
So that's where the John Legend character comes in, and he knows Sebastian, like they used to run in the same circles, and Sebastian's just jazz purist, and you have John Legend, who his character's kind of just like, yeah, but you know what? You have to make jazz palatable to today's audience. And Sebastian's kind of like, no, they're going to like the old stuff because you're supposed to like it. So he kind of takes this job to make the money in this band with John Legend, or his character's name is Keith. And it's kind of soul-sucking to him. It's kind of just him being in that backyard band again. He gets to have a little bit more skill and a little bit more fun with what he's doing, but he's doing this kind of so Mia can do this one woman show, and it ends up putting a real big strain on their relationship. And you've all seen it before in romantic, comedies, I guess, where one's giving up and the other's kind of not, but that's kind of the point. And but yeah, that was the one part of the movie where I felt it was at its lowest, because I was kind of like, well, we know where this is going, like, To
a point. I mean, I think you've got these characters who, eventually it kind of becomes clear that this was a transitional relationship where they both needed something out of it, and then ultimately they're not going to end up together. Like, she only goes for that one last audition that leads to her success because he forces her to go, even though they've already kind of broken up. And it's going through that sort of inspires him to actually pursue his dream, you know. So that's why, like, because the movie's split into these sections where it's, you know, it's like fall, winter, spring, whatever. And
the seasons.
The final one goes back to we start. I think we started on winter, so we go back to winter, but it says 5 years later. So we jump ahead and we see that she's now a big actress. Like, she's getting free coffee. She's going to the coffee place she used to work at, and she's getting her stuff. That was a bit on the nose for me. It felt very I don't know, but she
Well, it was a nice cycle because, you know what I mean, like. They're using the familiarity with it to drive the point. This is who she is now, and yeah, what got me more is when you look, because, you know, this is all a very romantic movie. Like, everything's got rose-colored glasses, and even at its darkest, you're kind of like, oh, well, they'll pull through because I know these kind of movies. And you see that she's married, and you see the husband, and it's not Sebastian, and. That was a shocker to me. Were you shocked at all by that?
Oh no, I saw it coming a mile away.
Okay, I did not. So in the theater, I got super upset.
As soon as it jumped 5 years later, I'm like, she's married with a kid. I said it.
Look at you.
As soon as it said 5 years later, I'm like, nope, they are so far apart. But I think the problem for me, why the movie, just from a plot level, doesn't work as well as it probably should, is because there's no real journey to, like, her succeeding. It's just like she goes for this one last audition and it kind of works. There's no, and I guess that's kind of realistic, where you just keep trying with more and more auditions until you eventually get that one. But I don't know, like there was no, like, sort of build up to it for me. It was kind of.
Well, it was also based on that someone that the casting person knew had heard about her her one woman play.
I she'd seen it. She was there.
Oh yeah, so she had seen it and was there, and that's what gets her that audition. They saw how what she was willing to do and put herself out there, because throughout the movie she keeps going to these auditions where the casting agents are just treating her like garbage. Like, they'll order a sandwich, they won't pay attention to her.
Don't get me wrong, I like the idea that she does eventually get discovered because she takes the initiative and does something for herself. As painful as it ended up being, as much as she got like 6 people in the audience, and as much as it was like a sort of, it was this hard thing, it proved to someone that she had something. And I kind of like that. It just, I don't know, it never felt like it really built up to it. It just kind of felt like, oh, she's successful now because it's time in the movie where she's supposed to be successful.
Right.
Rather than actually building up to it.
I kind of probably would have dialed it back to where she's still up and coming 5 years later. You know, like, they know who she is, but she's not like they made it seem like she's this big, huge star. Kind of like Emma Stone is in real life, where people would stop her on the street and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that.
Honestly,
think that
I think the movie would have worked way better if one of them didn't make it. I think it's too sweet and cheery that both of them got exactly what they wanted in life.
And that's where you go. So her and her husband go out for a night, and they end up passing. You know, they go to this restaurant, they turn off, and she ends up seeing this jazz bar, you know, with these lights downstairs. And through this whole movie, Sebastian's talked about he wants to buy this one building because that's where all the jazz greats were. And she's kind of like, well, why don't you make it your own? Why don't you create this new culture based on the old culture? And so she ends up walking into this jazz club, not knowing, you know, because it's not the same spot that he'd wanted. And he's up there being an MC and gets onto the piano, and they share this moment. And what I like about that is, yeah, he achieved his dream, but the whole time he was in love with jazz. And he was much more in love with jazz more than he was in love with her. And that's how I've taken that ending, you know?
Well, that's fine, but he starts playing the piano, and we get this extended sequence, kind of imagining, going all the way back to the moment they first met, where they imagine their life as if they had stayed together, but everything still worked out. And it's this sort of thing where they're dancing through various fake movie sets, and intentionally fake. There's kind of like sort of like old painted kind of things. And this is where I got legitimately kind of annoyed, because this just felt super self-indulgent, and it felt like it lasted like 10 goddamn minutes, and I was getting nothing out of it. Like, I was like, you know, 10 seconds into it, I got the point. And I wasn't enjoying the dancing around, I wasn't enjoying the whimsy, and it was just kind of like, so by the time it eventually came to the end of the piano piece, and he finished his little piece, and it was the same song that he'd been playing the whole movie, like, he kept going back to this piece.
Stars.
There you go.
Yeah.
And like, she leaves with her husband, she has that moment at the end where she turns around and gives him this look and just sort of smiles at him, and he smiles back, and it's kind of like, okay, we both kind of made it. We both got what we needed out of each other, and
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. But I don't know, like, but I was so pissed off after that self-indulgent 10-minute romp through whatever you want to call that, that I was just like, oh, screw both of you.
Oh
Screw
man.
both of you,
Yeah, see,
I don't care.
So again, the more times I watch this, the more I peel apart the layers. And yeah, on the surface, it seems like it might just be superficial, but and I might just be reading into it. But that whole montage of what their life could have been, yeah, they're happy with each other, but is that really what they want? Like they got a kid and she's an actress still, but he's still just kind of playing piano. And
Yeah, but he's got his club. This is what his dream was. He wanted to have this.
yeah, in the real one, but not in the dream.
Oh, right. Oh,
you know
in the
what I
dream,
mean?
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's like, so it takes that romance again of, yeah, we can have this perfect little thing, but is he going to be fulfilled? And I don't think he would have been. And that's, the 5-year jump is, this is exactly what he wants. And instead of naming it his dumb name of chicken on a stick, he took her idea. So the fact that, like you were saying, it was a transitional relationship that they both kind of needed, because he pushed her to do her own thing, and then she pushed him to kind of, you got to kind of play in the lines. You can't always play outside the lines and expect things to work out.
Well, it was actually kind of the opposite to me, I thought, the way with, because it was more like she inspired him back to his dream, because he gave it up thinking, oh, this is what she wants, that I need to go in this band. And I think it was the confrontation where she got really kind of upset, like, but you don't really like this music, like,
Right.
this is not really you, that kind of inspired him back onto his own path. Where, I mean, I assume he still played in the band for a while to make some money, but like, he had a goal in mind, he had like a direction that he was heading in.
Right, but it's still not exact. It's not his idealized jazz that they're playing at the end there. Like
Is
he
it not?
might be, but no, because when he talks about the one kid that's coming up, and he's like, "Oh, I better watch out. He might be owning this place soon." So it's still, to me, that's showing he's learned about how to present it, and it can't just be his way all the time. So they both. I could be completely wrong though. Maybe I'm reading it how I want to see it.
It just sounded like jazz to me, but I mean, I'm really not the expert to make that call.
And also someone that didn't really enjoy jazz. Like Whiplash kind of opened me up to it. Like after I saw Whiplash, I came home and I found a jazz playlist, to listen to. And I came around to it, but I'm not like, this jazz aficionado. But here where Chazelle, who Whiplash is kind of autobiographical, like he was going to be this jazz drummer until he couldn't hack it and he went into a much more difficult profession, I would say, of filmmaking, which is odd, but
Perspective, I guess, really.
I guess
what that boils down to.
But he, where was I going with that with Chazelle? Oh, he has Ryan Gosling's character break down, he has Sebastian, what jazz is, and I appreciated that as someone that's not initiated. There's a scene where they're at this lighthouse club and he's pointing out what's going on stage. And I really like that because it made me appreciate the music that he enjoys and why he enjoys it. And I could see that, towards the end. So I thought that was a nice little piece there.
Yeah. I think ultimately the meat in this movie, the depth that it has is not in the story or characters. The depth that it has is in the singing and dancing and the production side of it. So
Yeah.
I think if you're like me and you have no interest in musicals, I think this movie has next to nothing to offer you.
The cinematography, I tell people to watch it for that.
That's not enough though. Like, as much I appreciate the cinematography, and I was
Yeah.
definitely the best part of the movie. I thought. I still don't think it's enough. It's not enough to, because it's fine to a point, but then you get to like these extended sequences of the dancing and the floating in the observatory with the
Yeah, but for every one of those scenes, you have that really nice, Gosling's walking on the pier and doing the stuff with the hat and humming City of Stars. And the way that the camera moves and his movement within there,
It's really fantastic. I can't even just outright condemn it, because honestly, like, sometimes the best action sequence is the one that's filmed as if it's a musical piece, as if it's like a dance number. So I don't necessarily.
Baby Driver, right? That was your positive takeaway from Baby Driver, right?
Yeah,
action
to a
scenes
point.
kind of as a musical.
I wasn't really meaning specifically as that, because that one's like over in your face, kind of like that's kind of the point, is we're doing it exactly like that. I was being just more like just the way like you have a good action sequence where you have like a beat and you're moving around a geography and the camera's kind of following it around. Like you kind of do it in the same kind of way. So I from a technical perspective, I can appreciate what's going on in La La Land, but from actually giving a shit about the movie and what's going on with the characters and actually enjoying the experience, I can't say I did. Like for me, this was 2 hours that dragged. Like I was waiting for it to end.
You could have pushed me over with the feather had you said that you actually liked it. So this is kind of where I expected you to be on it. Although you're a little bit more positive than I would have thought. So that's good.
Well, I'm a right-minded fellow. I can't necessarily sit here and say, oh, it's worse than Birdemic, because it's not. But
yeah, well, I mean,
I'd still rather watch Birdemic again than watch this again, though.
Oh man, yeah.
Hey,
see,
Birdemic makes me laugh.
What's that?
Birdemic makes me laugh. This didn't.
Yeah,
this is just.
True.
You know.
Oh man, that's a story for another time though, because I could talk about Birdemic and that crazy director for hours.
Birdemic. Look up the trailer.
You're gonna make me say it now.
Oh, go on.
So if you're a person that doesn't like musicals, I guess I was a person that said that I don't like musicals either, and it's not like I rush out, because one Christmas we went to go see Out of the Woods, Into the Woods, whatever that movie was, the Disney musical, that was all about the fairy tale characters. You had Anna Kendrick as Cinderella, which is the real reason I was there, but, and I hated it. That movie was 4 acts, and it felt like 3 hours, and it was 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I was about done. But I guess you're gonna say this. I guess I kind of like musicals now, because that's weird.
What's funny is you bring up Anna Kendrick, right? And
Yeah.
she's also in the Pitch Perfect movies, which I relatively enjoy. I don't love them necessarily, but I relatively enjoy them. So this isn't about music in movies. Like it's specifically the musical idea of like them breaking into song and dance.
The structure,
and
right? Like the structure of a musical versus
less structure and more the context of which the music is presented. Like. Because to me, something like Pitch Perfect, or the thing that comes to mind that Pitch Perfect kind of reminds me of is Sister Act 2 of all things. But hey, you grow up on what you grow up on, and the idea of it's just a competition. Is Sister Act, Pitch Perfect to me are the same movie as Rocky or The Karate Kid. It's all about just the competition at the end, where you're training throughout the thing. It just happens to be singing instead of kicking or punching,
fighting.
Yeah. Or pick a sport, any sport movie, like that works for me. I like that. I like the underdogs try to like do what they can, because at least I don't like all the songs in a Pitch Perfect movie, because I'm a grumpy old fool who is very picky with music, but it's such a variety of different things that it's like they're bound to land in something.
That said, I can see you more identifying with Becca, who's kind of like, why do we keep doing all these old fogey songs? We can have more fun, I enjoyed the first Pitch Perfect. Not a big fan of the second one. The second one's kind of a mess, but
You mean D2 Pitch Perfect?
No, don't besmirch my beloved.
Or P2. But you got P2, then the third one will be P3.
Yeah, they gotta go to a private school, check out.
Well, the reason why I cracked that joke is because it had the same escalation as the first two Mighty Ducks movies, because the first Mighty Ducks was like, okay, it's this local competition, Pitch Perfect was the same thing, and then the second one, it's a world competition where they're singing for the US, and not only that, and it was a different country. I think in Mighty Ducks 2 it was Iceland that was the rivals, but in Pitch Perfect 2 it was
Germany.
Was it Germany? But it was just this idea of like you have like these like evil like accented opponents, or like it felt so D2 Mighty Ducks to me when I saw Pitch Perfect 2, but that's it
surprised me you've seen Pitch Perfect 2, Pete. You don't talk about that.
Why would I talk about it? There's not much to talk about.
No, I'm just saying.
So it's not exactly.
I would have you for never seeing it. Oh.
I watched both of them back to back at some point, like last year.
Fair.
It wasn't like I went out to see it at the theater. I'm not like Connor, whose most anticipated movie for the rest of the year is Pitch Perfect 3.
Let's not smear him. It is The Last Jedi, but
that's
right
number 2.
underneath.
That's number 2.
Yeah.
No.
Man.
Pitch Perfect 3 is his most anticipated movie of the year. I'll see it at some point when it's on Netflix or something. I'm no rush, but
Oh yeah. But yeah. So So the performances I do say too, I really enjoy in La
Oh,
La Land.
we're back to La La Land. Okay, just making sure.
Well, I'm just saying because you reminded me because I was gonna bring up Easy A and then I remembered we're not here to talk about movies we enjoy,
Oh, Easy is pretty
but
good.
we're gonna talk about La La Land. But because Emma Stone, she's it's I have a hard time. I want to like her in every role. You know, no matter what her role is, she has this charm to her that I just really root for her. And I feel like another actress in this role, I wouldn't have felt the same, I think. And that might just be me because I really like Emma Stone. But it was weird. Whereas Ryan Gosling, I feel like you could have plugged in some other characters, although he really takes it to the next level here because he is a fantastic actor. Like he did La La Land and The Nice Guys in the same year, and there's zero to one crossover element of those characters.
I'll give you one guess as to which one of those movies I preferred.
Yeah, well, one of those movies was my top movie of last year. It was The Nice Guys.
Good.
But La La Land was in the top 5. It was in the top 5. So
that's it in my top 5 of 2016. I'll tell you that right now.
No. Top 15.
No, I think I've seen like 70 movies from 2016.
Jeez.
This is not in the top half.
Oh man.
I can tell
50, 55?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look at the list now and see. I can't place it. See, this is the thing,
point,
Matt.
people, is that I'm driving that he has ranked all 70 movies he's seen.
Oh, I do that every year.
From 2016.
I do that every year.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I watch a lot of really, really crappy horror movies for Screams After Midnight. We cover some right turds on that. So it can be at the bottom 10. The bottom 10 is typically all these
That's true.
real, like, you know, like, I'll tell you right now, this year's worst movie is Bye Bye Man. It's not changing, it's the Bye Bye Man. It came in January and took that crown, and it's not let go since.
Wow. So would you recommend me watching it?
Yes.
So if I really wanted to mess with Pete, I would put Bye Bye Man on my overload list.
No, you have to have seen it.
That means I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah.
Or I'd have to watch it the first time.
You'd have to watch it the first time and then watch it again.
Yeah, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not
but
happening.
Anyways.
Besides, I've already talked about it, Matt. We did an episode of Screams about it. What am I doing again?
I hope this puts I hope this is the end of hostilities era. I know next month's we've talked about we're not taking haymaker swings anymore, I think.
He's on my pick, yeah. Don't cut your chickens, buddy.
No. I know what's next for the next pick, and I'm okay with either of those winning. So, but yeah, well, I'm glad you at least half liked it. So I guess we should rate it now, right?
Half likes it, but I guess on a purely objective level, yes, but I didn't enjoy watching it.
Okay.
So
I kind of know how I felt about Under the Skin, where I could understand why people liked it, but
yeah, but that's a good movie.
I did not enjoy like it. This is a good movie too.
Under the Skin is so much better than La La Land. It's not even.
Oh man.
It's not even. I actually felt something during Under the Skin.
As did I. I'm not gonna say I teared up, but I could feel them coming. It could have been the dog dander.
You felt emotions because it was doing something interesting with its premise.
Oh no, I'm talking about La La Land.
Oh, La La Land. All right, no. In that case, no. No, La La Land plays it too straight. It's too classical, and that's kind of the point. I get that. I get that the point is to do. We're going to do the old school Hollywood musical, but no, I'm sorry. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's certain types of movie I can watch rehashes of till the end of the time. Like, give me a guy in a mask stabbing people, and I'll be there. I'll probably be having fun, but I have no delusions.
I also have this very romantic view of LA that has bit me so many times over the course of years, and in fact, Mario has talked me out of it numerous times. Where he's like, "Yeah, LA's cool, but it's not like this great, awesome place, you know." But that also spoke to me. There's this montage in La La Land where they go and visit all these landmarks and. It's really well shot, and that adds to that love letter of Los Angeles. Like, and they spend a lot of time at the observatory, the Griffith Observatory, landmark. That's, so it just there's parts of it that just speak to me, and not just Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone because I just love those two so much. But
here's an example of something going on too long, right? So in the middle of the movie when he's joined this band and Emma Stone goes to the performance, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes this point where Gosling's over at the side, he's playing his piano and some keyboards and he's doing his thing, and after like a little bit of playing, more lights come on. It becomes a bit more, in your face, and these like dancers, these like backing singer dancers come out and stand in front of Gosling, and they're kind of hiding them from the crowd, and she looks kind of like sad about it, like he's not really getting to be the showman that he wants to be, and it like makes its point, and then the song still plays for another 3 goddamn minutes. It's made its point. I don't need to see the rest of the song.
Yeah, but you got John Legend on set. You want him to finish that song.
No, I don't.
You know what I mean?
I don't.
Well, I do. I like John Legend. Again, it's so. Again, it's just a taste thing.
I could easily cut 30 minutes out of this thing. Easily.
Yeah, you can, but then it's not really a musical because you'd cut all the musical numbers.
I would cut all of them. Like, there's a one at the start where she's singing with her roommates before, because they've convinced her to go out for a party, and it's just them singing as they get her dressed and they're going down the street, and I'm like, I don't get the point of this one. Whatever. Like,
how much did you enjoy the dance sequence where they're on the ledge, not the edge, but they're up in the hills and they're looking over and they have a view, and it's a kind of a homage to Astaire and Ginger Rogers. I think that's my favorite part of the movie, just because their chemistry with each other is so good. Like, I buy, that scene, and then they start tapping together. And was that a little bit too whimsical for you?
It was better than the singing, but
okay,
that's
fair
about
enough. So, is there any song that embedded itself in your brain now that you're going to be humming the rest of the day?
I don't think I remember any of the songs at all.
Oh man, so I've had City of Stars stuck in my head for the last couple of days since I watched this.
I don't think I could tell you a single lyric of any of these.
Man,
that's the thing. They go in and one ear out the other. I just like.
Yes.
I don't retain any of it.
Well, now I'm gonna take Newsies off because I don't want to put you through that, because that's all music. Like that is a steadfast musical where plot lines happen. So
like, I'll make this clear once again. Like, if you like musicals, great, love them, go love them. I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. I'm saying that there's a reason why I didn't watch this already, but I was forced to. So you're gonna hear me complain. You're gonna hear me bitch. You're gonna hear me whine.
That's fine. I just hope we can put the nuclear buttons down, and play nice. For the most part, I
will have my revenge.
You got your revenge by kicking under the skin at me. You're like hot potato. Here you go. And again,
I will have my revenge.
All right, cool. Tim Burton movies to watch. Let's make a list.
Alright, just as one minor note, I did appreciate seeing, what was her name? Let me just remind myself of her name. Jessica Roth, who was actually the lead in Happy Death Day. She was one of the roommates at the start of the movie.
I thought that was her.
I was disappointed she wasn't in more of it, because I liked her a lot in that movie. But hey ho.
She's great in Happy Death Day. That was underrated.
I do like Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day was a pleasant surprise. Much better than La La Land.
Oh, come on.
Much better.
Apples to oranges, my friend. Apples to oranges.
I'll throw an apple at your oranges.
Red. Not in a thread where you said apples to tennis balls.
That's because you said, I said the last part of this was a chore, and then you went, so it was under the skin. I'm like, what's the point of comparing them? That doesn't matter. Like, so you hate it under the skin. That does not have any bearings on my opinions of La La Land.
Because I can. But yeah, anyway, so let's rate this so we can
All right.
head on out.
All right, Matt, you go first.
All right, so this again was in my top 5. I think it came in at number 4 last year. So it's an easy 8.5 for me, like without a thought. And I'm gonna try to guess Pete's. I'm gonna write it down on my phone so we can't, no shenanigans. Hold on, I'm getting the note thing working. This is why I need a new phone. That's why I went yesterday, and it's on its way here. So that's all good. Okay, so Pete's is going to be. I'm gonna put this in. All right, go.
The suspense. All right, so I can't fault it at a technical level. Technically, there's a lot of things going on here that they've put a lot of thought into it. I will give it some objective praise for that. I do think, though, that I've seen the idea of like celebrating movies done better. There's movies about that I love. I do think this is extremely self-indulgent, especially that last chunk where he's fantasizing about what his life could have been with her. Oh my god, I hated those 10 minutes. I do think it's too long, and my flat out dislike of the musical numbers, because I don't really like the style of music, basically just paints it into a corner for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not enjoy watching it, but I can't necessarily point at it and go, "Oh shit, this is the worst thing ever," because
Yeah,
again,
it earned its cinematography Oscar for sure.
there's technical things going on. I can't deny that I like some of the cast. There is charisma on display on screen. With that said, I will give it what I feel is a very fair score for me, given my opinion on musicals, of a straight 5 out of 10.
Oh man, I overguessed by half a point. I had it at 5.5.
You're
I thought
crazy.
that it would have gotten an extra half point for the things that you did like in it.
No, the things that I did like got it to the halfway mark.
Oh man.
5 out of 10. That's what I'm giving.
All right, that's fair. Again, I had you at about 5.5, so Although if you tell James it was a 5 movie, he's gonna think you really loved it.
That's because he's a moron
weird
who rates things out of 5. I hate. That said, people who rate things out of 5 are not as bad as people who rate things out of 4. Those people are just weird to me. I don't get it.
Unless you're Roger Ebert when he was around, where he kind of started the 4-star system. It's time to put that away. You know what I mean?
4 stars is silly. No, 5 makes sense to me, at least, even though I prefer 10. But hey, anyway, so that is, I guess, La La Land. So we shall wrap up by doing our usual plugs. Of course, I will recommend one of the things that won the vote for streams this month was Cabin in the Woods. Me and Tim had a good conversation about that this week.
Fun.
So go check out that episode on the YouTubes at Male Fuzz TV. If you want to vote in the next thing, of course, admittedly, I think by the time this goes public on YouTube, it'll be too late to vote for the following vote, but the new one for the following month after that will be up. So you can do that over at patreon.com/MaleFuzzTV. You also get episodes of this and Influx early. You get to vote on episodes of Influx as well as Overload and Screams After Midnight. So lots of things over there. And plus, you get access to the Vault and the Crypt. Matt, do you know what the Vault and the Crypt are?
The Vault and the Crypt, I'm going to guess those are Patreon exclusives of older things, because that's what you would put in a crypt and a vault.
No, it's Patreon exclusive.
Okay.
Basically, it's the idea that people can submit movies to a to-do list, and so the Crypt's the Screams one, and the Vault is the 121 one.
Ooh.
And every so often, we'll pick one off this user-submitted list and do that, or maybe pick them to put in the vote for that month for the Patreon. The actual list is public. You can go see it over the link will be in the description below to the website where you can see that list. Both lists are public, but if you're a patron, you actually get the submission link and you can actually go and submit movies. It's just a fun way of letting people sort of give us suggestions, and we can do them sometimes, and some are wackier than others. Now, admittedly, I don't know if it affects Overload that much, because given the premise of this show where we pick something we love. But if one of them pops up on there, maybe we'll go, oh, hey, I do love that movie. Maybe I'll pick that for Overload this month.
We're always looking for movies that we can, explore here. I know my list kind of fluctuates, and, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. But then I'll forget to write it down and forget. So, But yeah, that's a good tool to have, Pete. So good on you.
Thank you. Yeah, I do think it was one of my better ideas. So that's so go check out that. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, you can do it at Patreon. I said that already. I don't know why I'm going back down that one. Every time I change the order of how I say things, I always end up circling and going back to something I already said. Subscribe, all that usual stuff. Of course, if you're on the audio feed, which obviously has all the 121 shows in one feed, do give us a rating on iTunes, or rate us on the podcast app you're using, whatever. But there's an audio feed now, so if you want to enjoy the show that way, you can. Although you don't get to look at Matt's very red beard.
Matches my shirt today. It's weird.
It is.
Although this beard, I'm gonna tell you people first. This beard's not long for this world. I thought I was about the beard life, but apparently my true love is just a chin beard, like Sebastian's love is jazz. So, yeah.
Oh well, that is us though. So this has been episode 4 of 121 Overload. So thank you very much. We appreciate you watching or listening. We always do. So yeah, keep watching movies, guys. We will see you next time. Goodbye.